Lesson 8.3 is finding special products of polynomials. Basically what this lesson is a shortcut. You know how to find the product of a polynomial, specifically binomials, by FOILing, but in some instances you're going to have special products. For example, if you look at this square over here, we have the side length a plus b here and a plus b here. If we use the box method, we would end up with a squared, ab, another ab, and b squared. So ultimately we would have a squared, we'd have two ab's and a b squared. So this is telling us that if you have the product of a plus b squared, let's get rid of 2, then you end up with a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. You have to understand that the first term is a, whether or not it's an x or a 5x, and then the second term is the b, again, whether or not it's a 2, a 3, a -7, it's all going to work out the same way. Now here they're saying we can do the same thing if we replace the b with a negative b. So the only thing that's going to change is if we replace it with a negative b, instead of a squared plus 2ab, you get a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. And again, we're going to replace the a's and the b's with the terms of the binomial. So here's basically what we're doing. We have a plus b, the quantity squared, and again, write down that that's a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And if we do that with here, we're going to end up with an x squared plus x times 5, because that's a and b. X times 5 is 5x, so x times 5 is 5x times 2, or 2 times a times b, so it's going to be plus a 10x, and then 5 squared is 25. A minus b, the quantity squared, is going to give you a squared minus 2ab times, or plus b squared. So here we have a squared is 2x squared, but that's going to give us a 4x squared. Remember, when you take 2x and you square it, you have to square the 2 and the x. And then if I have my middle term is going to be minus 2 times a, which is 2x, times b, which is 3. I'm not going to do a double negative here. I'm looking at b as being the 3. So negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x, negative 4x times 3 is negative 12x, so minus 12x, and then 3 squared is 9. And those are the correct answers for that. So this is a shortcut. So if I do this one, x plus 3, the quantity squared, is going to be x squared. X times 3 is 3x, times 2 is 6x, 3 squared is 9. So this is kind of nice. You don't really have to show any work. 2x, the quantity squared, is 4x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x, times 2 is 4x, and 1 squared is 1. 4x squared is really 16x squared. 4x times y is negative 4x, or 4xy, and then times 2 is negative 8xy. Remember that middle term here, if it's subtracted, is always going to be a negative. And then y squared at the end. 3m squared is 9m squared. 3m times n is 3mn, times 2 is 6mn, and n squared is just n squared. So there are your shortcuts for this. And again, that was the square of a binomial. Square of a binomial. So you'll have a binomial, 2 terms, and it will be squared. Next we have sum and difference patterns. If you have x plus 2 times x minus 2, you can find the answer by foiling it, or you could use the box method. If you foil it, you get x squared minus 2x plus 2x minus 4. Well, those middle terms cancel out, so you're just left with x squared minus 4. So this again suggests a pattern, and our pattern here is that you take the first term and square it, the second term and square it, and separate it with a subtraction sign. So once we do this, the first term here is x, so we have x squared, and I'm just going to put subtract 3 squared is 9. That easy. Sum and difference patterns. So here, first term is x squared minus 10 squared is 100. You just have to make sure it's a plus b, a minus b, or it would work the same way. Let's see, I have 2x minus 1 times 2x plus 1. Your b's have to be the opposite. So if I square the 2x, it's 4x squared, and then minus 1 squared is just 1. If I square x, I get x squared minus 3y squared is really 9y squared, because again, I'm going like this. I can use mental math with these special types of products to get an answer quickly. Honestly, I don't know what 26 times 34 is, but it's going to be easier to go 20 plus 6, or actually, let's do it this way. Erase that. I would like to go 30 minus 4 times 30 plus 4. I want to go ahead and try to do it as the sum and difference pattern. So if I square 30, that's 900 minus 4 squared is 16. 900 minus 16 is 884. And that was pretty quick. Okay, last problem. Border collies. The color of the dark patches of a border collie's coat is determined by a combination of two genes. An offspring inherits one patch color gene from each parent. Each parent has two color genes, and the offspring has an equal chance of inheriting either one. The gene capital B is for black patches, and the gene lowercase r is for red patches. Any gene combination, so this is important, any gene combination with a capital B, the puppy or the offspring is going to have black patches. Suppose each parent has the same gene combination. So we've got black and red, They each have the same combination. The Punnett square here shows the possible gene combinations of the offspring and the resulting patch color. So they could get a black gene from both parents. They could get a black from one and a red from the other twice, or they could inherit both red. And the only way that they're going to have red patches is if they have both. They're called recessive genes, if they have both recessive genes of the red patches. So it says here, what percent of the possible gene combination of the offspring result in black patches? Well, here that's 3 out of 4, which is 75%, are going to have black patches. But now, of course, they want us to do this with the polynomial. So from the first parent, they have a 50% chance of getting a black, plus a 50% chance of getting a red. Well, guess what? They have that same thing from the second parent, so I can multiply them. I can square it. So when I square this, I'm going to end up with, remember, this is taking us back here to the square of a binomial, where you square the first term. So 0.5 squared is 0.25. So I have 0.25b squared, and then it's 2, I'll write this down for you, but it's 2 times the 0.5b times the 0.5r for that middle term. So 0.5 times 0.5 times 2 is 0.5, and this is br, and then you square the last term, and it's addition in this middle term because this was addition. And 0.5r squared is 0.25r squared. And this is showing right here. 25% are black, and another 50% are black, so that 75% are going to be black patches. And here this is showing that only 25% are going to have the double R, so 25% are going to be red. So this is kind of cool. It's a way that you can do it either with the Punnett square, or you can see it with the polynomial multiplication. Alright, that's it for the notes. If you want to go ahead and start your assignment, this is lesson 8.3. And it's page 514. 516, 4 to 36 even, 37, 38, 40, and 43.